Good afternoon. So in today's video, we'll be solving the October November 2022 MCQ paper, paper 2, the variant 22 we'll be solving. This paper is for 45 minutes. So let's start solving the paper. Okay, so let's encounter and see a very first question for the paper. So the question says, which process provides an organism with the raw material required for tissue repair? Okay, so this comes from the concept of Mrs. Kren. Movement, respiration, sensitivity, growth, reproduction, excretion, nutrition. You can also add H, which is for hemostasis. So now, if we require, our body requires to repair the tissue, the raw material required will definitely not come from excretion. We are excreting the product outside our body. Growth, uh, growth is also not directly connected to tissue repair. Respiration is whole and soul connected to the topic of getting energy from your mitochondria, anaerobic and aerobic. So here we have the option C. When we provide nutrition to our body, then only our body is in a condition to repair our tissue or organ or any other thing. Coming to question number 2, which name is given to a group of individuals that can reproduce fertile offspring? So it is basically undergoing sexual reproduction. The organism should be fertile. Definitely not genus, because it is not considered in a genus. All organism would be undergoing sexual reproduction. In a kingdom, no. There are kingdoms like Monera, Protista, which undergo asexual reproduction. Few in fungus as well as in animalia and plantae. So the correct option for us is the species which reproduce the fertile offspring. Question number 3. Root hair cells which are found in the plant roots. Which feature is present in a root hair cell but not in a sperm cell? So sperm cell is an animal cell and root hair cell is definitely a plant cell. So you have to simply, as per the option, you have to identify and you have to differentiate which are the cell organelles which are present in plant cell, which are present in the animal cell. Now we are still waiting for the examiner report because we are still confused with the option with B and C, because cell membrane is common in both plant cell and animal cell. Cytoplasm is also the same, but the plant cell has both, which animal cell doesn't, which is chloroplast and cell wall. Okay, so the correct option which is given as per the MS is cell wall. This can be connected to the specific pigment which a cell can has, but then chloroplast, as the name they have specified, it takes care of the pigment of different types of chlorophyll and anthocyanin and xanthophyll. So therefore the correct option is B, but we are still confused with B and C, so let's wait for the examiner report. Fourth MCQ, the cells which are listed as specialized feature, they are listed, just a second. They are listed as specialized structure that allow to carry out a specific function. Okay. Which cells have structure that can move? Here we have option 1, ciliated cell, nerve cell, root cortex cell and sperm cell. Now they can move, which means they can locomote. They undergo locomotion. So we know ciliated cells which are present in the alimentary canal, which have the hair-like extensions, cilia, which allow them to locomote. And the sperm cell, it has tail which allow it to move to reach from the cervix, vagina of the female till the fallopian tube. So here the option 1 and 4, which means the option B is correct. Question number 5. Some examples of substances moving across the membrane are listed. First is glucose molecules into the epithelium that lines the small intestine. Nitrate ions, nitrate ions from a dilute solution in the soil into a more concentrated solution in root hair cells. Water molecules which are present, which are flowing from mesophyll cells into the air spaces of the leaf. Which examples must, for which of the example oxygen must be present to allow it to do it? Now, for the oxygen to be present, let's see which was what is happening in one and what is happening in two. So glucose molecules is happening here. This is an active transport. Energy is required. ATP for that. Oxygen is required. Nitrate ions are moving from dilute in soil into a more concentrated, so lower concentration to higher concentration gradient. So it is an active transport. For that ATP is required, for that energy, oxygen is required. Water molecule from mesophyll into the air space is a just diffusion. So for this, we don't require oxygen present. Therefore, the option number 1 and 2, B, is the correct answer for it. Question number 6. Plant tissue is present in a solution. What would cause plasmolysis of a plant cell? So basically, what is plasmolysis? So here we have a cell, and this is a vacuole which is filled with water, or it is filled with cell sap. So we say this cell is a turgid cell. Plasmolyzed cell is basically the water has moved outside. So, what caused the plasmolysis and which particular plant solution is in which the plant tissue is present? The external solution has a higher water potential than the plant cell. Okay, higher water potential, the external solution has higher water potential than the plant cell. No, then it will not cause plasmolysis, it will cause more turgidity. The external solution having a lower water potential than the plant cell, yes, this could be an option. Water moving out of the plant cell, yes, because plasmolysis is taking place. The water inside the cell is moving out in the external solution. Water moving into the plant cell, no. So, which is the option here for us for plasmolysis in the plant tissue is option number C, which is 2 and 3. DNA is a molecule consisting of two linked strands. Pair part of single strand of DNA has a sequence of adenine, cytosine, cytosine, guanine, thymine, thymine, guanine, adenine, adenine. Now, before we jump to the answer, we know adenine bond with thymine by two hydrogen bond, and cytosine with guanine by making three. This is in the case of DNA. If it's an RNA, then basically the thymine get replaced by uracil. So it is A with U and cytosine with guanine. So adenine is here. This is not an option. Yeah, so it starts with T, CC, GG, GTT, CAA, GCAAT. Option number C is correct. Question number 8. The graph shows the concentration of a substance during the course of an enzyme control reaction. So this entire substance and its concentration is being controlled by an enzyme. Okay. So here we have on the x-axis time, here we have concentration on the y-axis. Which substance it is? Now it's very simple. This entire reaction is being controlled by enzyme. So the substance is definitely going to be A. It's an enzyme because it's enzyme controlled reaction against the concentration at time. We can see it is not even linear, it is straight. There is no fluctuation. From zero origin till this end, it is completely the straight. So as the enzyme is going on secreting for the reaction, the as per the time it is remaining straight, it is not deviating here and there. Question number 9. The graph shows the effect of temperature on the activity of an enzyme. At which temperature do effective collusion happens most frequently? Now we can see here, here we have the continuous graph. It starts, we have the peak at 40, if we will see here. And we also know that if the enzyme is very low at temperature, then its kinetic energy decreases and the collision of the particle also decreases. And if the temperature is very high, then the enzyme gets denatured. So as the enzymes get denatured, then there will be no enzyme substrate complex. Therefore, the optimum temperature for them is 40, which is 9. For 9, it is B. Let's move. Which statement about the enzyme is correct? They are made of carbohydrates? No. Enzymes are basically proteins, and the basic unit of proteins is amino acids. Let's take for carbohydrate, it is sugar. For fats, it is fatty acids and glycerol. For protein, it is amino acids. So they are made up of carbohydrate? No. Their activity is unaffected? Their activity is affected by the pH of our body. Yes, if the blood has a pH which is base 7.4, the stomach has a specific pH. They are used up during the reaction? No, they are biocatalysts. They are not used up. They just alter the rate of the chemical reaction without impacting. And they have a complementary shape to the substrate? Yes. It's a lock and key model. So definitely this is our correct option, which is D. Let's move to the 11th question. Two test tubes were filled with hydrogen carbonate indicator. This is one of their favorite question to be asked in Cambridge. They always ask this question. You have to always remember, whenever you see this particular question, it is connected to the gas, which is carbon dioxide gas. Now, if the concentration of the carbon dioxide gas increases, then the color of the solution should turn to yellow. And if the concentration decreases, then the color of the solution to turn to purple. And itself, the indicator is of red in color. Okay, now let's move. So, two test tubes which are filled with hydrogen carbonate indicator. An aquatic plant was placed into each test tube, and the test tubes were sealed with the pumps, we can see as shown. Test tube X was illuminated. Illuminated means it is in presence of light. And while the Y was kept at the dark, the result was shown. Okay, so the test tube X at the start of investigation was orange. At the end of the investigation, it turned red in color. Okay. Y at the start of the investigation, it was orange. At the end of the investigation, it turned yellow, which means the concentration of the hydrogen indicator has increased. Let's see what is the question talking about. What causes the color change in the hydrogen carbonate indicator in the X and Y? Now this is our 11th question. Let's see what is the correct answer. A decrease in the concentration of carbon dioxide and increase. It has no connection with oxygen, no connection with oxygen. Definitely why the color is changing to yellow. So definitely there is an increase in the concentration of carbon dioxide. This could be an option. But definitely if here there is an, this is decrease. So this is also not an option. So here we are left with the option number A, which is there. Let's move to the next question. The substance listed are found in the leaf of a plant. Which substance is obtained from the soil? Carbon dioxide? No. It is obtained by diffusion from the leaf, from the lower epidermis, by stomata. Chlorophyll, no, it is already present. Chloroplast. Magnesium is there. Sunlight is going to make its own chlorophyll. Glucose, it's a product of photosynthesis. It is not obtained from soil. So we get mineral ions, which is absorbed by the root hair cells. 13th question. Now this is a very important question here. Pay attention, students. The cholera bacterium produces toxins that causes the chloride ions to be secreted in the small intestine. What is the immediate effect of this on the water potential of blood in the intestinal capillaries, blood capillaries, and on the water potential of the content in the small intestine? Now what happens, as cholera bacterium produces a lot of toxins, so as a result the water potential inside the small intestine, okay, the water potential inside the small intestine, it's normally the content of water potential inside will get lowered down. So here we have two options, which is lowered, because if this is my small intestine and here the toxins are impacted, which is a chloride ion, and I require more blood to be secreted by the blood capillary of the intestinal capillaries. So blood in the capillary, the water potential, there it will be raised, and in the small intestine, the content, because of the toxin, it will get lower down. So here we are left with the option number C for 30. Then we come to 14th question. The graph shows concentration of maltose in different parts of the alimentary canal. So basically maltose is a sugar which breaks down in our mouth definitely. So here we can see, and the small intestine definitely it is becoming much more simpler, so it is breaking down. What causes the change in the concentration at X? Okay, let's see what is changing here. Absorption of maltose. No, it would have absorbed, it would have decreased. It has increased at X. Action of amylase. No. Action of maltase, as the sugar is maltose, and the enzyme which is acting on it, which is allowing it to become much more simpler, is maltase. Assimilation of maltose, no. So here we are left with the option number C, which is the correct option for the 14th question here, action of maltase. 15th, the diagram shows a bean seedling soon after it is germinated. So here we can see this is our seed. Here this is coming the radical part, which will be later forming the root system. This is the plumule part, which will be later forming the shoot system. So where is the most water absorbed? Now basically water comes from the root. They are absorbed by the root because they are present inside the soil. This is my seed. It's going to grow into my shoot, the stem. So here we can see it's going to grow into the root system. Now here we can see, here we have D and this is the tip. This is the root tip, the radical tip. C is your root hair cells. They absorb most of the water. So the correct option is C for the absorption of water. 16th question here we have with us. Yeah, the question is a little bit bigger. Okay. Now the scientists investigate the movement of substance in a plant. They cut a ring of a tissue from the stem. So here we have a stem and they just removed a very simple ring from the outer layer, not the inner. Removing the tissue removes some of the transport vessels also. This you can call about as a vascular bundle. We know what comes in vascular bundle. We have xylem or we have phloem, and we have phloem. It transports the water, it transports your food basically, which is produced and photosynthesized in your leaves, which is sucrose. This question talks about the sucrose source and the sink. A few days later, they notice swelling about the area where the tissue has been removed. So here we can see there is a small swelling which is formed after certain interval of time. What has resulted to the, what has caused this swelling? Phloem vessel have been removed and the sucrose cannot move to the sink. Yes. Let's see if this is a correct option or not. Phloem vessels have been removed, the sucrose cannot move into the source. No. It is not the source. The sources are the leaves. Xylem vessels have been removed? No. In the vascular bundle, the outer region, if you always see, is your phloem and your inner region is your xylem. So the phloem has been removed. So there is no question of xylem. We have to choose between A and B. Now, as your stem is not the source for the sucrose, so definitely the phloem vessels has been removed. The outer area is your phloem. And the sucrose cannot move to the sink. The stem acts as a sink for the sucrose to be stored. Therefore, the correct option is A. Because it is not allowing the movement of the sucrose to go up and down. For the roots it is required, the stem it is required, etc. 17th question is about your heart. Let's see what it is asking. The diagram shows the outside of a human heart. Okay, it is not about internal structure or your atrium and ventricle. Which structure is coronary artery, which is the artery present only on the heart? A is definitely not. B is the aorta, the largest artery. No. C is also not as a vein. Here we can see it is the artery running on to the heart, which is a coronary artery. The coronary names basically something comes from the heart. Therefore, it is coronary heart disease. It is basically the issue of the heart artery. Okay, the blockage inside the heart artery of the heart. So the option number is D for 17. Now 18th, the photomicrograph is shown of a different types of blood cell here. Okay. Okay, here we can see the blood cell is there. Here we can see it is of random shade and it has a nucleus. It is definitely some type of immune system cell. Okay, let's see what is asking. What is the function of the cell labeled as X? Clotting blood? Okay, no. That is for fibrinogen and fibrin. Antibody production? No, they're not producing antibody. Transporting oxygen? No. They are not red blood cells, definitely. These are the red blood cells, the biconcave shape. They are undergoing phagocytosis, macrophaging. They are eating up the cell. Their immune systems are undergoing phagocytosis. Option number B, killing them. Campylobacter is a bacterium that causes food poisoning. Which word describes Campylobacter? It's an antibody, no, it is causing a disease. Disease, no. Campylobacter is the name of a bacteria. It is not a disease name. Food poisoning, if it would have asked, it would have been some kind of disease. No. Any symptom? No. It's a disease causing bacteria. It's a disease causing bacteria or bacterium specifically to Campylobacter. Therefore, it's a pathogen. What is the, and we come to the part 1 end for this video, the last question for the day. What is the approximate percentage of the oxygen in the expired air? Definitely not 0.04, it's very less, it's for carbon dioxide. 4% no. 21 it's very high, it is for basically carbon dioxide. So the correct option is C, which is 16% for oxygen in the expired air. So students, with this we have come to the end for our first part of the video for biology paper October November 2022 variant 22. So the remaining 20 questions will be solving in our next video, and the other video for chemistry, for theory, for ATP is also been coming. If you have any doubts, then you can comment in your comment section, and if you want to reach out to me, I have given my contact number, so you can call me if you have any doubts, or if you also want, then I will arrange online lectures for you all to resolve your doubts. Okay. So with this, let's end this video. Take care. Keep studying hard for your exams.